Ayo, what's going on, guys? How's it going? Welcome back to another video on the Overmotor channel. I am so happy to be back. It's definitely been a while since I've last done a recording, and just felt like I needed to give you guys an update. As you know, I'm down here in Florida, so currently summertime is basically indoor time. You're not out doing anything during the summer because it's just so hot. You're either inside, at the pool, or at the beach. Those are like your three options. And yeah, anyway, so I thought I'd do a little bit of a ride around and just in general give you guys a bit of a life update. So it's been about 2 months since I've done my last upload, and a lot has happened in my life since I've last uploaded something. For one thing, I've decided I'm going to be going back to college. Now, for anybody that doesn't know me personally, I have a bachelor's in game art and 3D animation, so I'm kind of, I guess you could call me an artist. I do a lot of 3D stuff, a lot of game design stuff. I work with a company and we make games. Before I moved to Florida, I used to live in Germany for about 6 years. While I was in Germany, I finished high school and I decided to go to college, specifically to study game art, video game art, and 3D animation. And that was a very good decision on my part because it allowed me to grow. I was a very bad student. I just could not care less about school, and game design and basically creating things from scratch was always very interesting to me. I always found that quite fascinating. So I did that. I studied. COVID hit, and I ended up finishing, I'd say probably 2/3 of my schooling online. And that was fine because it allowed us, as in me and my family, to move from Germany down to the US, and I could still continue my studies because it was all online. Woo! All right, that was a pretty good wheelie. As you can see, I've been practicing my wheelies a little bit as well. They're still power wheelies, but hey, I mean, a wheelie's a wheelie. And coming back to the story, so I ended up graduating. I got my bachelor's. I got a very good final GPA, and I was super happy with that. And I ended up looking for work, and I ended up finding a really, really cool company to work with. It's about 100 people. Thing is, though, I want to do a little bit more with my life. I find the 3D animation and video game design and modeling and all that super fun. It's a lot of fun, and I really do enjoy it, but I couldn't see myself doing that for the next 40 years or whatever, spending all my life just in that field. That's when it kind of hit me. Over the past, I'd say 2 years or so, I've been very interested in space, rockets, all that, and I know it sounds totally out of left field, but it's kind of the same reason why I decided to build this bike up from scratch rather than just buying a new bike and replacing components or whatever, is I love figuring out how things work and making sense of the world around me. I really quickly realized that in order for you to be able to do that properly, something like an engineering degree is quite crucial. Here, let's head on over here because it's a little hot out. It's still like midday and I don't want to get sunburned. I'm white. So I quickly realized that, hey, I want to do something where I can see myself creating something and progressing civilization, progressing humanity, progressing the knowledge that we have, and just doing good for the world. And so one day, because my job is remote, we decided to have a bit of a meet-up type of thing where we all headed down to Orlando for the day and did some mini golf, and it was basically on the dime of the company. I had to pay for a hotel, but I could drive down there because I live about 2 hours away from Orlando. I could drive down there, spend the night, have some fun with my colleagues, and then head back. But while I was actually in my room, I realized, hey, well, I'm like an hour away from Kennedy Space Center. So I decided to head down to Kennedy Space Center the next day and just see what Kennedy Space Center was about. Little did I realize that SpaceX was also launching a rocket that day, as they pretty much do now every day or every other day. And so I looked into it, like what time's it going to be launching, all that sort of stuff. And I actually saw it live. So here's a quick video of that.
And we'll lift off. Go Falcon, go Starlink.
I know that there's like a couple seconds where you don't even see the rocket because I was just so enamored by the rocket, I wasn't even paying attention to what my camera was doing. And really, from that point on, I just completely fell in love with the idea of going back to school to study whatever it is that I need to study. And so I got back from my trip, did some research, and really realized that what I want to get into is engineering, specifically aerospace engineering. And so what I'm going to be doing now is, because I have to pay for it all out of my own dime, is I'm going to end up going back to college probably in the next 2.5 years, 2 years, 2.5 years, specifically that time period, because I need to save up money. So I'm going to be working my job. I'm going to be basically saving as much money as I can, and then also spend that time really learning everything that I need to learn to be successful and to be able to get my bachelor's in that degree. So obviously aerospace engineering, one of the most difficult degrees that you could probably get. And to a lot of people, they see that and they go, well, that's just too difficult for me. That's not something that I want to do. To me, I see that as, why the fuck not? Like, you have one life, you have to go for it. And if you never actually take the chance, you never realize what you can actually accomplish. And I find myself to be relatively driven when it comes to something that I really want to do. I can really buckle down and get into the weeds and just have a lot of fun figuring things out. Now, luckily, I was in a position to where, because we were living in Germany, college is much cheaper than in the States. And so because of that, my parents were able to afford to send me to college. And so I didn't have to pay for college, which was just an absolute blessing. And I'm so grateful to have that, because I know so many people that don't have that and that come out of college just completely in debt, and that's a horrible way to really start your future. And once again, I find myself in a very lucky situation in that I'm currently still living with my parents. I have a job that's remote that pays me a full salary. I get along with my parents. We have a fantastic relationship. I don't want to be a leech, in that I don't want to be a burden on them for many more years. So eventually, within the next 2 years or so, I do want to move out sometime around 23, 24. Unfortunately, the housing market and whatnot is absolute dog shit. If any of you guys actually pay attention to stuff like that, it's just absolutely horrible. So if you want to get a decent head start, you almost have to live with your parents until you're at a certain age. And so I'm going off on a tangent once again, but basically what I'm trying to say is I'm now in a very lucky position to where I pay very little for rent. So I pay rent, but nowhere near as much as I would if I were to pay rent, to a landlord or anything like that. And other than that, it's just transportation costs for like my car and whatnot. But once again, because I live at home, gas and whatnot is pretty negligible. And so I'm really able to save up a lot of money. And for a long time, I just had the mindset of, well, now you're making so much money, comparatively to what I was making before, which was basically like a minimum wage job. Well, now you can go out and you can spend it on all this stuff, make your room nice, have a cool toy to ride around with, and all that stuff. I mean, like, sinking in 16 grand into a bike, like, that's not a smart financial move, but I definitely learned from it, and I'm very much enjoying it now. So, so be it. But now I'm really in a place where I can save as much money as possible, go back to college sometime around the age of 23, 24. And by then, I'll have learned all what I need to and have all the money saved up to where I can go to college, pay for it without, having to rely on my parents to pay for it, without racking up debt. Yeah, and then after that, I'll be applying. I don't want to say exactly where to yet, because once again, this is a goal of mine. This is something that I want to get to. This is something I think I can get to. But the way I see it is, worst case scenario, I now have 2 years to think about it, really contemplate it. I've been contemplating it now for about 3-4 months, and I'm still all in, which is a good sign for me. Once again, I'll have a good probably 2.5 more years to really think about it, really do practicing, studying, saving money. And the worst case scenario is that 2 years from now, I will have a lot of money in the bank. Let's just put it that way. I'll have a lot of money in the bank because I don't want to go into school expecting to make any more money, because I want to put all my time into studying at that point. I want to have as much money as possible so I don't have to take on a side hustle, a side job, or anything like that. Whoa, those are some big birds, huh? Holy crap. Look at those birds. Those things are massive. They're like dinosaurs, man. Holy crap. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know this was a little different than normal. This was more of a little bit more of a yap session. And I've had so much fun today just riding around, hopping some wheelies, and glad to be back on the video grind for you guys. I've got some awesome videos planned for you, so make sure to stay tuned for that. If you want to see more, go down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you like these types of videos where I just kind of go off on a rant, if you want to see something a little bit more structured, feel free to let me know about that as well. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.